Hey everybody, welcome to the first video in the Blueprint Interface series. We're going to start by going over how Blueprint interfaces work and a couple of use case scenarios. Okay, let's go ahead and hop right into it. So first things first, I'm using the 5.3 version of the engine. This is the basic third-person project template, so you can go ahead and open that up if you just want to follow along. We're going to start by creating a blueprint interface. We're going to go ahead and get that. Okay, and then we're going to name this BPI underscore interact. From here, we're going to go ahead and open it up. You'll see the new function at the top right. Let's go ahead and name this interact or interaction, whatever you want to name it. Go ahead and compile and save that, and then we're going to close that down, go back into content. Let's go ahead and actually make the actors first. We're going to make a door actor to start with. You can just name this BP underscore door or door. The naming convention typically is BP underscore door. After that, we're going to create another actor. We're going to call this BP underscore item or item class base or item base class, whichever you prefer. It doesn't really matter, this part's up to you. Now let's go ahead and find the third person character, which we're going to be using for this example because it's already mostly set up. Go to the class settings in the top, and then we're going to go to the implemented interface on the right side there. We're going to type in interact and find our BPI underscore interact. Okay, compile and save. And then we're going to, before we continue, let's go ahead and set up the interact button for the character. We're going to be using the new the Unreal Engine 5 system for the enhanced interactions. Let's go ahead and just duplicate the IA for jump, and we'll just rename it to IA underscore interact. Then if you click on it, you can go ahead and verify that the settings are correct. We're basically going to be using the exact same thing as jump because it's going to be going off a single button press. Let's see. Yeah, all of this looks good. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we can go ahead and just close that now. We're going to go back to the IMC underscore default, and we're going to add the interact button we just created. And then we're going to need to set it to a key. I'm going to go ahead and set it to E because that's normally what you use for interactions, and then save it. You guys can do whatever button you want, just don't forget. Although it's not too big of a deal because in the actual player character, when we add it later, you're just going to have to type in enhanced, I think it's enhanced input interact. I'll double check it right now. So we're back in the third person character. Let's go ahead and do interact, and you should see it right there. That's for the BPI. So we've got event interact, enhanced action event, or IA underscore interact. This is going to go off our button press. Let's go ahead and just expand that. Looks good. So we're going to go ahead and search interact again. This time we're going to pull out the call function interact, and then we're going to pull off of the triggered. Actually, let's go ahead and yeah, let's go ahead and search for the multisphere by trace, or actually, let's go ahead and do sphere overlap. Um, let's go ahead and get the self. We're gonna get our actor location, and we're just gonna spawn a sphere to check for actors nearby us. So you can do get location, get actor location, and then what we're going to do is just these, and we're going to add vector to this because the base location of the actor is going to be the root, which is at the feet. So we're going to go to capsule. Our capsule half height is 90. So let's go ahead and just add 70 so it's a little, the sphere will start a little below the halfway point on the character. Yeah. Yeah, we can do 70. And then let's go ahead and connect it to the sphere position. Just adjust these a little, and then we can connect that to trigger, lower that down. And then we're going to need to do the sphere radius. See, capsule radius is 35. Let's just start with 60 and see how that works for us. That's probably going to be a little bit too small, but we'll adjust it as we need. You're going to need to pull out from object types and make that a variable, and then compile it, and then we're going to set it to world dynamic. Pretty much anything you're going to be interacting with is going to be world dynamic. You can add to this or change it if you need to. And then let's go ahead and pull off of out actors. We're going to loop it. Let's do a for each loop with break, just because we may need to break after an interaction to keep from interacting with everything in the area. I'm probably not going to mess with that in this video, but in the future videos I may use this as a baseline and improve off of it. So let's go ahead and we're looking for the interface. We're trying to get actors of, yeah, does implement interface. So now we're going to pull off, make a branch, and then we'll go ahead and just connect that to the loop body. And let's go ahead and select the interface. We're looking for the same, the interact interface, so BPI underscore interact. Anytime that an actor does have this interface, we're going to want to interact, so we'll pull true off. And oh, looks like that one's not connecting. Let's go ahead and search. There we go. Interact message. That's the right one. Go ahead and connect the true to interact. And you want to make sure to correct the array element to the target. That's going to make sure that it actually sends the message to the other blueprint that we're working with. Okay, so all this looks good. Let's compile and save. And let's go to, let's go ahead and open up our, I think we're going to do the door first. Yeah. We're going to add a static mesh component just so we can see it in the world. This is just going to be filler for the moment. You can change this to something specific if you have something specific. I'm just going to be using something kind of door-ish. Probably, yeah, this will work. So we're going to adjust this. Let's go ahead and bring it up. Okay, so that looks good. Now we'll go to the class settings. We're going to need to add that same BPI underscore interact here. Event graph. We're going to just delete all of these. For the interaction to work, we don't really need those. You may need those for other information, but we won't. Go ahead and search and pull up the interact event. I just pulled up the wrong one on accident. We'll just delete that first one. Okay. So event interact, and then off of that, going to do a timeline. We're just going to set up a basic door opening and closing here, using a timeline to adjust the rotation. So let's go ahead and get that opened. I'll set it to 2, and then let's add a float track. And then we're going to need to add 2 keys here. We're going to need to add one at 0, 0. And then we're going to need to add a second key at time 2 and value 1. Okay, go ahead and save and compile. Okay, I'm going to skip over the rest of this. I may make a door opening tutorial in the future, but you can pause right here if you want to create something similar to what I have. The timeline stays the same, but I do add in the lerp for rotation. I add an A and B, and then a set rotation on the static mesh. You don't want to rotate the entire blueprint typically, you just want to rotate the actual mesh itself. Okay, so we're good there. We'll go ahead and compile save. And let's go ahead and actually change the sphere radius to something over 100. I think 60 is going to be too small. It's up to you, but yeah, just change it to something big enough to cover your whole character and a little bit of the surrounding area. Alright, and then let's go ahead and let's try playing it. You're going to need to move your door blueprint into the level, and I'm going to go ahead and put a second one here. And move them together. Alright, and you can see I walked up, I just triggered one, and then I just triggered both. So the interact is sending the message to both of those blueprints just to open the door. I didn't make a closing version, so it's just opening it. Okay, next let's go ahead and work on the BP underscore item base class, or class base. And we're going to do the same thing here as we did in the door blueprint. So let's go ahead and go to class settings first. We'll go ahead and add the interface now, BPI underscore interact. I'll save, add the static mesh. I'm going to use a different static mesh for this one. Let's just pick something else basic here. Maybe a cube. Actually, let's go ahead and do the chair. And then compile, save, it looks good. Here we're going to do the event interact again. Just going to move that to the line there. And then we're going to, this one's going to simulate picking up an item. We don't have an inventory or anything, so I'm just going to destroy the actor upon interaction and compile and save. You'll notice that we didn't have to change anything in the character. The interaction's already set up through the character in the interface. So for this new blueprint, all we have to do is add the interface and then just add in that very short event and call it. So let's go ahead and test it now, and done. So the interaction worked, the chair deleted itself, well, the item deleted itself, the doors both opened and closed, well, the doors both opened, and we're good. So that's a basic setup of interfaces. Um, they are very performant, they're very easy to use, they are much better than using a like specifically calling a class or keeping references. References use memory, and the interfaces kind of go outside of that. They simply do like a message to anything that you're interacting with. The references are temporary, and usually they're already in the level. So, well, they have to be or it doesn't work. So, very performant, easy to set up. They are basically the king of interactions. There's pretty much no downside to using them, and I recommend everyone do it. In future videos, I'm going to try and go into some more advanced practices for interfaces. I'm sure you saw that there are ways to add variables to interfaces, so you can go more in depth. They can be used for attacking, and it's recommended because it keeps you from having to get direct references to enemies. You can sort them, you can make it so that some interactions have higher priorities than others using the blueprints. So I'm going to go into this pretty in depth and show you guys how you can get everything set up to work as efficiently as possible in a pretty easy to understand way. Um, I hope you'll watch some of the later videos and yeah, and master the master the interactions. If anyone has any specific video requests or any comments or questions about this, feel free to put it down below and I'll try to get to them as soon as I can. Thank you for watching.